Time Warner Audiobooks presents Business at the Speed of Thought by Bill Gates. Narrated by Roger Steffens and Bill Gates.
Introduction. Business is going to change more in the next 10 years than it has in the last 50. As I was preparing my speech for our first CEO summit in the spring of 1997, I was pondering how the digital age will fundamentally alter business. I wanted to go beyond a speech on dazzling technology advances and address questions that business leaders wrestle with all the time. How can technology help you run your business better? How will technology transform business? How can technology help make you a winner 5 or 10 years from now? If the 1980s were about quality and the 1990s were about re-engineering, then the 2000s will be about velocity, about how quickly the nature of business will change, about how quickly business itself will be transacted, about how information access will alter the lifestyle of consumers and their expectations of business. Quality improvements and business process improvements will occur far faster. When the increase in velocity of business is great enough, the very nature of business changes. A manufacturer or retailer that responds to changes in sales in hours instead of weeks is no longer at heart a product company, but a service company that has a product offering. These changes will occur because of a disarmingly simple idea: the flow of digital information.
Well, up till now, the speed of business has been limited by moving information around. But with digital tools, moving that information at the speed of light, the only constraint is how well you use your knowledge workers, your thinkers, to react to what's going on, to plan new products, to make sure you're using all of your resources in the right way. So Business at the Speed of Thought says that business will be done a new way, and it's about empowering those knowledge workers and reaching out with digital tools to make sure that all the best thinking gets applied. Business at the Speed of Thought was written for people who think about business. A lot of it is aimed at a CEO who's thinking how to transform their company for this new era. A lot of it's written for workers in these enterprises who are thinking about how they can be innovative in moving their company to be more efficient. It's really for anybody thinking about the future of business, thinking about how companies will deliver services and products in better ways using the wonderful advances that technology has made available.
We've been in the information age for about 30 years, but because most of the information moving among businesses has remained in paper form, the process of buyers finding sellers remains unchanged. Most companies are using digital tools to monitor their basic operations, to run their production systems, to generate customer invoices, to handle their accounting, to do their tax work. But these uses just automate old processes. Very few companies are using digital technology for new processes that radically improve how they function, that give them the full benefit of all their employees' capabilities, and that give them the speed of response they will need to compete in the emerging high-speed business world. Most companies don't realize that the tools to accomplish these changes are now available to everyone. Though at heart most business problems are information problems, almost no one is using information well. Too many senior managers seem to take the absence of timely information as a given. People have lived for so long without information at their fingertips that they don't realize what they're missing. One of the goals in my speech to the CEOs was to raise their expectations. I wanted them to be appalled by how little they got in the way of actionable information from their current IT or information technology investments. I wanted CEOs to demand a flow of information that would give them quick, tangible knowledge about what was really happening with their customers. Even companies that have made significant investments in information technology are not getting the results they could be. What's interesting is that the gap is not the result of a lack of technology spending. In fact, most companies have invested in the basic building blocks: PCs for productivity applications, networks and electronic mail or email for communications, basic business applications. The typical company has made 80% of the investment in the technology that can give it a healthy flow of information, yet is typically getting only 20% of the benefits that are now possible. The gap between what companies are spending and what they're getting stems from the combination of not understanding what is possible and not seeing the potential when you use technology to move the right information quickly to everyone in the company. The job that most companies are doing with information today would have been fine several years ago. Getting rich information was prohibitively expensive, and the tools for analyzing and disseminating it weren't available in the 1980s and even the early 1990s. But here on the verge of the 21st century, the tools and connectivity of the digital age now give us a way to easily obtain, share, and act on information in new and remarkable ways. For the first time, all kinds of information, numbers, text, sound, video, can be put into a digital form that any computer can store, process, and forward. For the first time, standard hardware combined with a standard software platform has created economies of scale that make powerful computing solutions available inexpensively to companies of all sizes. And the personal computer means that individual knowledge workers have a powerful tool for analyzing and using the information delivered by these solutions. The microprocessor revolution not only is giving PCs an exponential rise in power, but is on the verge of creating a whole new generation of personal digital companions, handhelds, auto PCs, smart cards, and others on the way, that will make the use of digital information pervasive. A key to this pervasiveness is the improvement in Internet technologies that are giving us worldwide connectivity. In the digital age, connectivity takes on a broader meaning than simply putting two or more people in touch. The Internet creates a new universal space for information sharing, collaboration, and commerce. It provides a new medium that takes the immediacy and spontaneity of technologies such as the TV and the phone and combines them with the depth and breadth inherent in paper communications. In addition, the ability to find information and match people with common interests is completely new. These emerging hardware, software, and communication standards will reshape business and consumer behavior. Within a decade, most people will regularly use PCs at work and at home. They'll use email routinely. They'll be connected to the Internet. They'll carry digital devices containing their personal and business information. New consumer devices will emerge that handle almost every kind of data, text, numbers, voice, photos, videos, in digital form. I use the phrases web work style and web lifestyle to emphasize the impact of employees and consumers taking advantage of these digital connections. Today, we're usually linked to information only when we are at our desks, connected to the Internet by a physical wire. In the future, portable digital devices will keep us constantly in touch with other systems and other people. And everyday devices such as water and electrical meters, security systems, and automobiles will be connected as well, reporting on their usage and status. Each of these applications of digital information is approaching an inflection point, the moment at which change in consumer use becomes sudden and massive. Together, they will radically transform our lifestyles and the world of business. Already, the web work style is changing business processes at Microsoft and other companies. Replacing paper processes with collaborative digital processes has cut weeks out of our budgeting and other operational processes. Groups of people are using electronic tools to act together almost as fast as a single person could act, but with the insights of the entire team. Highly motivated teams are getting the benefit of everyone's thinking. With faster access to information about our sales, our partner activities, and most important, our customers, we're able to react faster to problems and opportunities. Other pioneering companies going digital are achieving similar breakthroughs. We have infused our organization with a new level of electronic-based intelligence. I'm not talking about anything metaphysical or about some weird cyborg episode out of Star Trek, but it is something new and important. To function in the digital age, we've developed a new digital infrastructure. It's like the human nervous system. The biological nervous system triggers your reflexes so that you can react quickly to danger or need. It gives you the information you need as you ponder issues and make choices. You're alert to the most important things, and your nervous system blocks out the information that isn't important to you. Companies need to have the same kind of nervous system, the ability to run smoothly and efficiently, to respond quickly to emergencies and opportunities, to quickly get valuable information to the people in the company who need it, the ability to quickly make decisions and interact with customers.
The basic idea of a digital nervous system, where you have everything online and easily accessible, applies to enterprises of all types. Think about government. Their business is to help process information and to make a lot of that information available to the public. And so the efficiency and improvement that can be gained by a digital nervous system inside government is, if anything, greater than inside your typical business. Likewise, think about education. Students are, in a sense, the ultimate knowledge workers. Their whole job is to try out problems, see how they solve those problems, and have access to a broader set of information than you need inside a typical business. And so letting those students have this tool, letting them bring back the things they've seen and share that with other students, that kind of activity can make education more effective than ever before.
As I was considering these issues and putting the final touches on my speech for the CEO Summit, a new concept popped into my head: the digital nervous system. A digital nervous system is the corporate digital equivalent of the human nervous system, providing a well-integrated flow of information to the right part of the organization at the right time. A digital nervous system consists of the digital processes that enable a company to perceive and react to its environment, to sense competitor challenges and customer needs, and to organize timely responses. A digital nervous system requires a combination of hardware and software. It's distinguished from a mere network of computers by the accuracy, immediacy, and richness of the information it brings to knowledge workers, and the insight and collaboration made possible by the information. I made the digital nervous system the theme of my talk. My goal was to excite the CEOs about the potential of technology to drive the flow of information and help them run their businesses better, to let them see that if they did a good job on information flow, individual business solutions would come more easily. And because a digital nervous system benefits every department and individual in the company, I wanted to make them see that only they, the CEOs, could step up to the change in mindset and culture necessary to reorient a company's behavior around digital information flow and the web work style. Stepping up to such a decision meant that they had to become comfortable enough with digital technology to understand how it could fundamentally change their business processes. Afterward, a lot of the CEOs asked me for more information on the digital nervous system. As I've continued to flesh out my ideas and to speak on the topic, many other CEOs, business managers, and information technology professionals have approached me for details. Thousands of customers come to our campus every year to see our internal business solutions, and they've asked for more information about why and how we've built our digital nervous system, and about how they could do the same. This program is my response to those requests.
I wrote Business at the Speed of Thought to help business leaders understand how they can take advantage of the incredible changes taking place. I think business will change more in the next 10 years than it has in the last 50. And businesses that seize the opportunity and use digital tools to move information inside their enterprise, as well as to reach out to customers in new ways, they'll lead in this era.
Part 1. Information flow is your lifeblood. I have a simple but strong belief. The most meaningful way to differentiate your company from your competition, the best way to put distance between you and the crowd, is to do an outstanding job with information. How you gather, manage, and use information will determine whether you win or lose. I can anticipate your reaction. No, it's sufficient processes, it's quality, it's creating brand recognition and going after market share, it's getting close to customers. Well, success, of course, depends on all of these things. Nobody can help you if your processes limp along, if you aren't vigilant about quality, if you don't work hard to establish your brand, if your customer service is poor. But no matter whatever else you have going for you today, you need a fast flow of good information to streamline processes, raise quality, and improve business execution. Most companies have good people working for them. Most companies want to do right by their customers. Good, actionable data exists somewhere within most organizations. Information flow is the lifeblood of your company because it enables you to get the most out of your people and learn from your customers. See if you have the information to answer these questions. What do customers think about your products? What problems do they want you to fix? What new features do they want you to add? What problems are your distributors and resellers running into as they sell your products or work with you? Where are your competitors winning business away from you, and why? Will changing customer demands force you to develop new capabilities? What new markets are emerging that you should enter? A digital nervous system won't guarantee you the right answers to these questions. It will free you from tons of old paper processes so that you'll have the time to think about the questions. It will give you data to jumpstart your thinking about them, putting the information out there so that you can see the trends coming at you. And a digital nervous system will make it possible for facts and ideas to quickly surface from down in your organization, from the people who have information about these questions, and likely many of the answers. Most important, it will allow you to do all these things fast. An old business joke says that if the railroads had understood they were in the transportation business instead of the steel rail business, we'd all be flying on Union Pacific Airlines. Many businesses have broadened or altered their missions in even more fundamental ways. An unsuccessful maker of Japan's first electric rice cooker became Sony Corporation, a world leader in consumer and business electronics and in the music and movie industries. A company that began by opportunistically making welding machines, bowling alley sensors, and weight reduction machines, moved on to oscilloscopes and computers, becoming the Hewlett-Packard we know today. These companies followed the market to phenomenal success, but most companies are not able to do this. Even when you look at your existing business, it's not always clear where the next growth opportunity is. In the frenetic world of fast foods, McDonald's has the strongest brand name and market share and a good reputation for quality. But a market analyst recently suggested that McDonald's flip its business model. Referring to the company's occasional promotion of movie-inspired toys, the analyst said that McDonald's should use its low-margin burgers to sell a line of high-margin toys instead of the other way around. Such a change is unlikely, but not unthinkable in today's fast-changing business world. The important idea here is that a company not take its position in the market for granted. A company should constantly reevaluate. One company might make a great breakthrough into another business. Another company might find that it should stick to what it knows and does best. The critical thing is that a company's managers have the information to understand their competitive edge and what their next great market could be. Differentiating your company in the information age. A modern automobile manufacturer may have a strong brand name and a reputation for quality today, but it is facing even greater competition around the world. All car manufacturers use the same steel. They have the same drilling machines, they have similar production processes, and they have roughly the same costs for transportation. Manufacturers will differentiate themselves from one another by how well they design their products, how intelligently they use customer feedback to improve their products and services, how quickly they can improve their production processes, how cleverly they market their products, and how efficiently they manage distribution and their inventories. All of these information-rich processes benefit from digital processes. After the introduction of ENIAC, the first general-purpose computer during World War II, computers quickly proved they were faster and more accurate than humans in many applications. Managing the customer records of the largest institutions and automating almost any mechanical process that could be broken into discrete, repetitive steps. Computers were not functioning at a high level, though. They assisted people, but not in an intelligent way. It takes brains to understand the physics and develop the underlying calculations for the arcs of artillery projectiles or ballistic missiles. It takes an idiot savant, a computer, to do the calculations in an instant. Businesses need to do another kind of work, what Michael Dertouzos, director of MIT's Laboratory for Computer Science and author of What Will Be, calls information work. We usually think of information, a memo, a picture, or a financial report, say, as static. But Dertouzos convincingly argues that another form of information is active, a verb instead of a static noun. Information work is the transformation of information by human brains or computer programs. Information work, designing a building, negotiating a contract, preparing tax returns, constitutes most of the real information we deal with, and most of the work done in developed economies. Information as verb activities dominate the terrain of information, Dertouzos says. He estimates that information work contributes 50 to 60% of an industrialized country's GNP. Dertouzos' insight into information as action is profound. When computers went from raw number crunching to modeling business problems, they began to participate in information work. Even manufacturing firms have always expended much of their energy on information about the work rather than on the work itself. Information about product design and development, about scheduling, about marketing, sales and distribution, about invoicing and financing, about cooperative activities with vendors, about customer service. To do information work, people in the company have to have ready access to information. Until recently, though, we've been conditioned to believe that the numbers should be reserved for the most senior executives. A few executives might still want to hold information close in the interests of confidentiality, but for the most part, access to information has been restricted simply because it used to be so hard to get. It took time, effort, and money to move information around. It was so expensive to pull data out of a mainframe, and it took so much labor to try to correlate the data, that you had to be at least a vice president to order up the work. Even then, the information was sometimes so inconsistent or out of date that you'd have VPs from different departments show up at high-level meetings with different data. On today's computer networks, you can retrieve and present data easily and inexpensively. You can dive into the data to the lowest level of detail and pivot it to see it in different dimensions. You can exchange information and ideas with other people. You can integrate the ideas and work of multiple people or teams to produce a well-thought-out and coordinated result. We need to break out of the mindset that getting information and moving information around is difficult and expensive. It's just basic common sense to make all of your company's data, everything from the latest sales numbers to details of the 401k plan, just a few clicks away for everyone who can use it. A company's middle managers and line employees, not just its high-level executives, need to see business data. It's important for me as a CEO to understand how the company is doing across regions or product lines or customer segments, and I take pride in staying on top of those things. However, it's the middle managers in every company who need to understand where their profits and losses lie, what marketing programs are working or not, and what expenses are in line or out of whack. They're the people who need precise, actionable data, because they're the ones who need to act. These employees shouldn't have to wait for upper management to bring information to them. In many companies, the middle managers can be overwhelmed by day-to-day problems and not have information they need to fix them. They may have reams of data in front of them, literally reams of paper reports, that are difficult to analyze or correlate with data in other reports. A sign of a good digital nervous system is that you have middle managers empowered by the flow of specific, actionable information. They should be seeing their sales numbers, expense breakdowns, vendor and contractor costs, and the status of major projects online in a form that invites analysis as well as coordination with other people. The system should notify them of unusual developments according to criteria they set. For example, if an expense item is out of line. This way, they don't need to monitor normal expense activity. These capabilities are available at a few companies, but I'm continually surprised by how few companies use information technology to keep their line managers well informed and to avoid routine review. Still another sign of a good digital nervous system is the number of good ideas bubbling up from your line managers and knowledge workers. When they can analyze concrete data, people get specific ideas about how to do things better, and they get charged up about it, too. People like knowing that something they're doing is working, and they like being able to demonstrate to management that it's working. They enjoy using technology that encourages them to evaluate different theories about what's going on in their markets. They get a kick out of running what-ifs. People really do appreciate information, and it's a big motivator. A final sign of a good digital nervous system is how focused your face-to-face meetings are and whether specific actions come out of them. Pilots like to say that good landings are the result of good approaches. Good meetings are the result of good preparation. Meetings shouldn't be used primarily to present information. It's more efficient to use emails so that people can analyze data beforehand and come into a meeting prepared to make recommendations and engage in meaningful debate. Companies struggling with too many unproductive meetings and too much paper don't lack energy and brains. The data they need exists somewhere in the company in some form. They just can't readily put their hands on it. Digital tools would enable them to get the data immediately from many sources and to be able to analyze it from many perspectives. GM's Alfred Sloan said that without facts, it's impossible to put a sound policy into effect. I'm optimistic enough to believe that if you have sound facts, you can put a sound policy into effect. Sloan did many times over. At today's pace of business change, we need even more to manage with the force of facts. What I'm describing here is a new level of information analysis that enables knowledge workers to turn passive data into active information. What Michael Dertouzos calls information as a verb. A digital nervous system enables a company to do information work with far more efficiency, depth, and creativity.
The term digital nervous system talks about a company taking the approach of getting all their information to be easily available and really empowering their workers. It combines the latest PC, internet, and communications technologies. But far more important than that is the processes you build around digital activities. For example, capturing all the information about customers and taking full advantage of that. For example, being able to allow teams to come together even when they're in different locations or even if they don't work for your company but they're a partner company. That kind of capability can only come with a comprehensive plan for the company to build a digital nervous system.
Like a human being, a company has to have an internal communication mechanism, a nervous system, to coordinate its actions. All businesses focus on a few basic elements: customers, products and services, revenues, costs, competitors, delivery, and employees. A company has to carry out and coordinate the business processes in each area, especially activities that cross department lines. Sales needs to quickly find out whether the company has the inventory or can get it quickly, before promising delivery on a big order. Manufacturing needs to know what product is selling like gangbusters so that it can shift production priorities. Business managers throughout the company need to know about both, and a whole lot more. A digital nervous system serves two primary purposes in the development of business understanding. It extends the individual's analytical abilities, the way machines extend physical capabilities, and it combines the abilities of individuals to create an institutional intelligence and a unified ability to act. To put it all together in the right context, a digital nervous system seeks to create corporate excellence out of individual excellence on behalf of the customer. To begin creating a digital nervous system, you should first develop an ideal picture of the information you need to run your business and to understand your markets and your competitors. Think hard about the facts that are actionable for your company. Develop a list of the questions to which the answers would change your actions. Then, demand that your information systems provide those answers. If your current system won't, you need to develop one that will. One or more of your competitors will. You know you have built an excellent digital nervous system when information flows through your organization as quickly and naturally as thought in a human being, and when you can use technology to marshal and coordinate teams of people as quickly as you can focus an individual on an issue. It's business at the speed of thought. Create a paperless office. Digital technology can transform your production processes and your business processes. It can also free workers from slow and inflexible paper processes. Replacing paper processes with digital processes liberates knowledge workers to do productive work. The all-digital workplace is usually called the paperless office, a phrase that goes back to at least 1973. It's a great vision. No more stacks of paper in which you can't find what you need. No more pawing through piles of books and reports to find marketing information or a sales number. No more misrouted forms, lost invoices, redundant entries, missing checks, or delays caused by incomplete paperwork. But the paperless office, like artificial intelligence, is one of those any-day-now phenomena that somehow never seem to actually arrive. Today we have all the pieces in place to make the vision a reality. Graphical computing and better analytical tools make it easy to integrate data of various types. Highly capable networked PCs are ubiquitous in the office environment. The Internet is connecting PCs around the world. Yet paper consumption has continued to double every 4 years, and 95% of all information in the United States remains on paper, compared with just 1% stored electronically. Paperwork is increasing faster than digital technology can eliminate it. In 1996, I decided to look into the ways that Microsoft, a big advocate of replacing paper with electronic forms, was still using paper. To my surprise, we had printed 350,000 paper copies of sales reports that year. I asked for a copy of every paper form we used. The thick binder that landed on my desk contained hundreds and hundreds of forms. At corporate headquarters, we had 114 forms in procurement alone. Our 401k retirement plan had 8 different paper forms, for entering and exiting the plan, for changing employee information, and for changing employee investments or contributions. Every time the government changed the rules, we'd have to update and reprint the forms and recycle thousands of old ones. Paper consumption was only a symptom of a bigger problem, though. Administrative processes that were too complicated and time-intensive. I looked at this binder of forms and wondered, why do we have all of these forms? Everybody here has a PC, we're connected up. Why aren't we using electronic forms and email to streamline our processes and replace all this paper? Well, I exercised the privilege of my job and banned all unnecessary forms. In place of all that paper, systems grew up that were far more accurate and far easier to work with, and that empowered our people to do more interesting work. Take the example of a new hire. Let's say that an applicant named Sharon Holloway accepts our job offer. Sharon is a hypothetical new hire, but the description of her experience at Microsoft is typical of the experience of the 85 people we hire each week. While our intranet is a global solution for all 28,000-plus Microsoft employees worldwide, in this example, we'll assume that Sharon is based at our main campus in Redmond, Washington. Before Sharon arrives at Microsoft, an administrative assistant in her new group fills out the electronic new hire setup form on Microsoft's intranet to request a voicemail account, an email account, office furniture, and a computer with pre-installed software to be ready on Sharon's arrival. The same form ensures that Sharon gets added to the company phone list, receives a nameplate for her office door, and gets a mailbox in her building's mailroom. The single electronic form goes directly to the groups responsible for taking care of these items. Electronic logs ensure that everything is tracked. After an orientation session with a human resources manager on the company's general approach to business and employee issues, Sharon and the other new employees are directed to the company's internal website for most of their administrative needs. Sharon goes online to review the employee handbook. It no longer exists in paper form. Download any software she needs beyond the standard setup, and fill out her electronic W-4 form. Next, Sharon uses a procurement tool on our intranet called MS Market to order office supplies, books, a whiteboard, and business cards. MS Market automatically fills in her name, her email alias, the name of her approving manager, and other standard information for the order. Sharon has to enter only the information unique to the purchase into a few designated fields. The vendors receive her order electronically and deliver the order to her office. An order above a certain amount of money requires additional levels of management approval before processing. Our electronic system routes the form to the right people for an electronic OK. Sharon visits the Microsoft archives, library, and company newsletter sites to read up on Microsoft. By signing up for one or more of our library's news services, she sees the latest news about the company and the industry in electronic versions of publications such as the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CNET, and so on. The availability of these services online has increased the number of our subscribing employees from 250 to 8,000 for the journal alone. The online library lists books, software, and videos that employees can check out online for delivery to their offices. Librarians also maintain web pages containing news and research for each Microsoft product group. New employees don't follow a standard route on our intranet site. We hire people who are intellectually curious, and they explore freely. After they get their basics set up, they'll dive into business or technical areas that relate to their jobs and interests. Our new employees use the site the way it's meant to be used, to learn and to get things done. When Sharon's first paycheck arrives, the payroll amount is deposited automatically into her checking account, and she can view her deposit confirmation and the details of her pay stub on a secure intranet page. As her banking needs change, Sharon can change her financial institutions online. For travel, Sharon handles plane and hotel reservations online with a booking tool designed by Microsoft in partnership with American Express. AXI, available online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, gives Sharon direct access to corporate negotiated airline fares and flight availability information, a low-fare search tool, airline seat maps, corporate preferred hotels, and the ability to check a flight status or request an upgrade. Microsoft's travel policies are embedded in the AXI software as business rules. Any non-standard travel request triggers email from AXI to a manager for review. Travel expenses are submitted digitally to her manager for electronic approval. We deposit the reimbursement into Sharon's checking account electronically within 3 business days of approval. An online tool is also the means for Sharon to manage her 401k retirement plan, her employee stock purchases, and her stock option grants. She can direct the total percentage of her salary to be withheld for retirement or stock purchases, and can alter the percentage to be allocated to each retirement investment option. Fidelity Investments' website for the plan enables Sharon to view current account information and market indexes, to model loans, and to review her transaction history. One of Sharon's jobs as a marketer is product planning. Most of the management and financial information she needs is accessible from MS Reports, a single interface to many databases such as expense, customer, contract, and budget. MS Reports can also be used to access MS Sales, our sales reporting system, HeadTracks, our headcount system, and a financial management system that includes general ledger, fixed asset, project accounting, and statutory information and management reports. MS Reports uses Excel pivot tables to show data from multiple views, enabling Sharon to focus on analysis instead of data structures. She can review revenue projections for her product from sales locations worldwide as the projections are updated. She can view historical information about previous marketing campaigns, such as personnel, capital expenses, and marketing expenses. With the relevant data from MS Reports to help her plan, Sharon uses an online budgeting application to enter her projected headcount and expenses for her new product, then is able to track her marketing budget throughout the project, answering questions such as, what is my spend rate, where am I spending money, and how can I reallocate resources for new projects? Sharon may use an additional planning tool, OnTarget, to track expenses in more detail. OnTarget provides project accounting. A manager can get complete project expenses across multiple cost centers or across fiscal years. When Sharon is promoted to manager, one new duty is conducting performance reviews for each of her reports every 6 months. Each employee writes a self-evaluation, and Sharon adds her own performance evaluation to the original document. Sharon's evaluation of an employee incorporates peer review, and email makes it easy to get feedback from people in other divisions or even around the world. Sharon and her manager review her appraisals of the work of her employees and her proposed ratings for them. Then Sharon meets each employee face-to-face to discuss performance and new objectives. Microsoft managers used to spend more time on the paperwork for reviews than on the reviews themselves. Our review application simplifies the work of managers while ensuring that they follow company policies. The application calculates a default merit increase and bonus for each person based on Sharon's rating and on the employee's job level and current salary. Overriding the defaults is possible, for example, to load up the salary and bonus for a star performer, but managers have to adhere to the company's overall percentage guidelines. As Sharon enters the number for each employee, the tool automatically calculates the new group average. If she comes in too low or too high, she can go back and redo the numbers. After senior managers review the numbers electronically, compensation changes feed directly into the master employee data and stock option systems. By translating a rating into compensation, and by enabling the manager to visually compare such figures as ranking by performance and by salary, the review application helps managers to grade employees consistently according to both performance and policy. We estimate that the application also reduces managers' time spent on review administration by at least 50%. Saving aggravation and $40 million. Using our intranet to replace paper forms has produced striking results for us. As this program is recorded, we have reduced the number of paper forms from more than 1,000 to a company-wide total of 60 forms. Among those groups that started out with the most forms, procurement has dropped from 114 to 1. Operations has reduced the number of its forms to only 6, and human resources is down to 39. Of the 60 remaining paper forms, 10 are required by law, and 40 are required by outside parties because their systems are still based on paper. The last 10 paper forms are used so seldom that we haven't bothered to make them electronic yet. Businesses have an incentive to persuade partners and governments to accept information electronically so that everybody can get to a fully digital approach with no paper. Overall, the savings from our using the electronic forms I've described in this section amounted to at least $40 million in our first 12 months of use in 1997-98. The biggest savings came from the reduction in processing costs. Accounting firms put the cost of paper orders, mostly the time of all the people handling the paper, at about $145 per transaction. Electronic processing at Microsoft, by comparison, runs less than $5 per transaction. In its first year, MS Market alone handled 250,000 transactions involving more than $1.6 billion, saving our company at least $35 million in processing. Transaction volumes are increasing significantly. The $35 million figure includes $3 million saved through the reassignment of 22 procurement personnel worldwide. MS Market also directs employees to vendors with whom we've negotiated volume discounts, which saves us money on many purchases. Using electronic forms for just the 401k plan, the Employee Stock Purchase Plan, and the Stock Options Plan saved us another $1 million annually in labor. Attrition took care of some of the reduction in headcount, but most of the staff moved on to more important tasks they weren't doing before because they'd had to spend so much time on rote administrative chores. One person who had been spending each day answering routine questions now manages the content for the web page that provides the answers. Within a year, the number of employees using the online system to obtain account information and ask questions regarding Microsoft's 401k plan doubled from 24% to 51%. As a result, during the same period, assistance by service representatives decreased by half, from 35% to 17%. Our new online travel system is expected to reduce overhead in our corporate travel group and to triple travel agent productivity from an average of 8 to 25 completed itineraries, usually hotel, rental car, and airfare, per agent per day. Consistent employee use of preferred vendors will save us millions of dollars per year. The average time it takes an employee to make a domestic travel reservation is projected to go from 17 minutes and 6 phone calls or emails to approximately 5 minutes. All of the administrative applications and content I've talked about in this section run on a total of 12 servers, either dual processor or quad processor systems. Total cost for the hardware was about $300,000. Total development costs across 2 years was about $8 million. Ongoing support runs about $765,000 annually. Though far lower than comparable costs on other systems, our expenses were still higher than companies will see today because we pioneered a lot of solutions. There were no standards, for instance, for integrating third-party systems inexpensively. Software products such as our Commerce Server provide this integration today. Companies will see lower costs going forward as the result of standards and of increased functionality in commercial software packages.
Building a digital nervous system does not require some huge new investment in hardware and software. In fact, most companies have the key building blocks today. They're giving their knowledge workers PCs on their desktop. They're networking those computers together, and they've probably got some kind of site out on the internet and the ability to have information flow into and out of the company across the internet. A lot of the idea is taking that and using it in a more profound way, taking information that was on paper and processes where information was not captured and getting it onto your intranet and building tools so that the knowledge workers find that information very easy to get to.
Even as we pioneered solutions, our central IT budget, which covers these and other major business applications, decreased 3% between 1996 and 1999, mostly from standardizing data and consolidating the number of information systems we have. Electronic tools give us benefits beyond reducing transaction costs. For example, by requiring proper sign-off before a request is processed, MS Market prevents inappropriate purchases that can easily slip through a paper-based system.